I'll leave it in the section below. Today, we're talking about the PC culture. Hey guys, I've been I talked the other day about a girl that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, a girl by the name of Ashley, Ashley Mandrill or something like that. I'll put it in the description below so you guys can go see what I wrote and stuff. But she was talking about the PC culture. She's a lesbian and she's a feminist. And they really have a hard time seeing the hypocrisy in what's going on. That they really don't see the cause and effect. They don't see that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. They don't see what their laws and their feminist ideal has, what effect that has on society. And like I say, they even though they've got what they were wanting years ago, we're talking like back in the 70s, they got what they wanted, feminists. And when the Equal Pay Act was signed in 1964, they got what they wanted right there. So it's illegal for someone to do the same job and get paid differently, right? That was in 1964. So they go by the stuff I pointed out was the stuff I always point out. That's kind of an easy way to break them down. Is the fact that 1 out of every 30 victims shelters are for a man, and in most cities, like if you went to where I was from in Denver, you might be lucky in all of Denver to find 1, maybe 2 shelters, and those would probably be homeless shelters for men who have been battered by a woman, or a gay man that's been battered by his gay boyfriend or something like that. You would find maybe 1 or 2 in the entire city of Denver. But women's shelters, you might find hundreds, and that's the way it is everywhere. The fact that the one that everybody points out, that the fact that when you turn 18 and you actually, if you decide not to sign up for selective service, you cannot vote, you cannot get any governmental programs like SSI, you basically are not an American citizen if you don't say that I will go die for the country. Women don't have to do that. They can go to college, they can get college student loans, they can get welfare, they can do all that stuff. Men can't do that unless we sign up to go die and fight in some war, And I pointed these out, and I pointed out the over 140,000 men that are raped every year in prison and nothing's done about it. I pointed all this out, and they just skipped by that. And they like to point out, they love straw man arguments. They love the kind of the religious right-wing thing where they say, well, if you do that, then it means this. And if you look at some of the things they put on the page, on the stuff that I wrote, you'll have a good laugh, because they go from me speaking about a very real topic to something that's so off the wall, where they talk about racism or something like that, and I was just talking about something real. Like I told them, like, if you're in a PC culture, you don't have the right to not be offended. That's just a fact. You do not have the right to be offended, to not be offended in life. So if I'm if somebody is calling me a Jap, you know, or a fucking Asian bastard, something like that, you know, and I'm just walking through some store, and I'm in Japan, and some Japanese person calls me a fucking gaijin dickweed or something like that. My reaction to that is all that I can control, because everybody has freedom of speech, and I want people to have freedom of speech, because when you have freedom of speech, that allows me to know who I'm speaking to. If I'm speaking to a racist and he's saying racist things, then I know to stay away from that person. It's kind of like a self-shunning, where if you force people to be PC, it doesn't mean they're not racist. You end up with the stuff that you have with cops, where they're racist. They're racist as fuck, but they don't say racist things. They do racist things, yet they say we're not racist. Well, that's because we're in a PC culture, and the PC culture tells them they have to act like they're not racist. Well, if it wasn't a PC culture, these cops could just say racist things and spout off things about blacks and homosexuals and gays and Mexicans and Africans and whatever they wanted to say. They could just spout that shit off. And all that does is give you a clue to who that person really is. If you make that person be PC, you'll never know. You'll never know unless you catch them shooting some black guy in the back of the head. And then you're like, oh, he's racist. Well, I'd like to find out before that, you know. And I can't stand the PC culture. It's ruining everything in the United States. It really is. It's ruining everything. Even in the world, it's ruining everything. You used to be able to sit down and make really funny kind of comedy, you know, talking about real issues, kind of things that make people uncomfortable, but also make people think. You know, it was a way for people to use their brain cells, you know, kind of try to think a little bit. And we're getting to this point now. I see this in psychology in my work with children and with children in college, especially in America. There's this PC thing where all the children are getting trophies for just trying. And the problem with that is, when I was a kid, and when a lot of you guys that are watching me were children, you didn't get a gold star for showing up. You got a gold star if you did something good, which made you strive to be and to do something good, so that you could maybe get your A. You know, if you get a D minus and you still get a trophy, then why do you want to strive for an A? You're like, well, yeah, but the guy that got the A plus, he got the same trophy I did, so why do I got to try harder? I still get the trophy, don't I? This is the problem that these children are having nowadays. They're getting less and less motivation to strive to get somewhere in life. They don't care anymore. And they're actually getting lazier and lazier, and it's harder for us as a society to find people who want to actually do something with their life. Because these people, when they work for somebody, they don't have any drive. And they have this idea that not only do they not have any drive, but everything in life has to be tailored to their needs. That's why we have these safe space bullshit. You know, this, oh, I got to have a safe space where I'm not triggered, and all this fucking just kindergarten horseshit bullshit crap, you know, where they don't learn how life is. These people are not prepared for life. That's not how life is. Life is about anger and hate and sadness and strife and grief and pain. That's what life is about. What you do with that is life. And you don't have the right to tell anybody what they can and can't do in their life, even if it affects you, unless it directly affects you. You know, if you can tell somebody to not do something if they walk up behind you and hit you in the head with a baseball bat. Now that's something else. If they're acting upon you If they're doing something to you, then you have the right to say you can't do that because they're acting upon you. If they're doing something, if they're saying something to you, you have the ability to take that and keep that in, or just walk off and say fuck off, I don't care. You know, that's you're in your control. What somebody does to you is in your control, which is why so many of these kids nowadays are having such a big problem with getting on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and having people get on their sites and tell them things like you're a fat prick and you're a stupid fuckhead and you don't know what you're talking about and you're and they like can't handle it. And it's because they're not prepared for life. Life is a big fucking troll. That's what life is. And you either deal with it or you don't. But they're trying to make this PC culture where you're never offended. Every place you go, you're never offended. And you can only be offended if you're a woman, you know. That men don't get offended. That we can talk about men any way we want, but when we talk about the same subject that has to do with women, it's just not right. You can't do that because women are godlike, you know. Women are just awesome. And they just bypassed all the facts and all the reality that is humans, you know. The fact is, men are the ones that have to live life and have to be hurt and have a lot of pain and strife and grief and trouble in their life so that they can make a life for a woman. That's like, women are judged by their reproductive capacity. How many children do you have? Do you want to have children? Things like that. Women always say that. Well, in the same vein, men are only judged by how much money they can make to take care of said woman and those children. So if you're a man and you're working and you're not married and you don't want to get married, then all of a sudden they start asking you, well, why are you working? You don't even have a wife. You don't have any kids. So what are you working for? So a man is told that his only value as a human on the planet is to have children with a woman and to take care of said woman and children. And if you're not doing that, then why are you on the planet? So this whole equality thing that they talk about in this PC culture is just complete nonsense. Now, like I say, I'll leave in the description below this PC bullshit video that I was talking about. And you can look in there, you can comment on it, and you can look in there and see all the stuff that they said to me. And I just had to have a good laugh because they were all these kind of like slippery slope arguments where I would say something that was real and then they would come off with something just crazy, you know, where kind of the same thing they do with gays, you know, where they're like, oh, gay marriage is legal now, so now everybody's going to want to marry a horse. What does a horse have to do with gay marriage? You know, and that's kind of how they go. You know, they start saying stupid things like gay marriage is legal now, so now Nazis, blah, blah, you know, it's like, what does Nazis have to do with fucking gay marriage? You know, and this is their kind of stupid equivalencies they come up with, where there's no basis in reality. They have to go so far out there because if they look at the reality of it, they realize it's bullshit. You know, so like I say, I'll leave that in the description below. You guys got any questions, comments, leave them in the section below. Share, like, and subscribe. Follow me on all my shit. It's below. And thanks for watching.